Hey everyone, it's Allie and welcome to my channel. We're doing a little bit of a fireside chat. I'm in a chair today because I'm wearing a dress. But if you're new to this channel, if you just happened to click on this video, welcome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I am a part-time seller. Right now, I am very much just on Poshmark, but throughout the next couple months, I will be branching out to some other platforms. But I made a post on my community tab and I asked you guys if you had any particular questions about reselling or reselling on Poshmark. And I did get a few questions, so I figured I would go ahead and make a video about it. And definitely let me know if there's anything that I didn't cover in today's video that you would like to know. And leave those questions down below and I can always make a part 2. Now, I really have come to love reselling, especially on Poshmark, because it is such an easy platform to use, I think, and I am not very technologically savvy myself. And I have made quite a few videos on like pros and cons of selling, what I like about Poshmark, how I like to source, things like that. So I will go ahead and link my fireside chat playlist down below and feel free to check that out because there might be some information in those videos that will also help you along your own reselling journey. And I just realized I didn't turn the fireplace on, so I guess I gotta do that. Okay, you like literally can't even see the fire, but it is on, see? Okay, so I did get a couple questions, basically just asking how to get started selling on Poshmark. And I will say, I do think that it is quite simple. Like I said, I'm not technologically savvy myself, and I do think that Poshmark has done a really great job of making it a very simple process. So what you're gonna wanna do basically is just go on into your app store. If you do have a smartphone, I do think having a smartphone makes everything a lot easier, but there is a desktop version as well for Poshmark. But I would go into your app store, just search Poshmark, and you should be able to download that pretty easily. And then once you get that Poshmark app, you will be prompted to put in your login information, or you can click to create an account. And it will just ask you a series of questions, really nothing too crazy, but you just wanna go ahead and fill out that information, and then you, bam, have a Poshmark account. So you'll see some different things once you do have the Poshmark account. You're gonna see the main feed, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, just ignore this, especially if you are getting started out. The feed doesn't really mean that much. Poshmark has tried to kind of market itself as a social media type reselling platform in that you can communicate with other sellers and buyers and share different things. Don't worry about that once you get started. I really don't even worry about that as an established seller. It's just kind of an unnecessary thing. So that's what that main feed is. Poshmark will automatically have you follow certain people just to kind of get you started on the platform. So in that main feed, you're just going to be seeing listings from people that you're following. If you go on that shop tab, you're going to see things that you would like if you would eventually like some items from different sellers. You would see things that you recently viewed as you're on the platform longer and looking at different listings. You'll see things picked for you. You'll see a section that says today's trends, which I honestly don't really pay that much attention to this. Maybe I should pay more attention to it, but that is a place that you can go kind of check out if you are not really sure what you want to be selling, what you should be selling. Now the sell tab is what you, of course, are going to want to be using if you want to sell things on the platform. And it's really, really simple. You just kind of hit that sell button and it will take you to a screen where you can either take pictures right in the app or you can upload from your camera roll. And I really never just take the pictures right in the app. I'm always taking them on my camera roll beforehand and then I am uploading. So it is really important that if you do also plan to take pictures before opening the Poshmark app, if you just take them on your camera roll, you want to make sure that you are taking pictures with the square filter around it. So that way you can see exactly how the pictures are going to look on Poshmark. So once you upload the pictures of the item that you'll be selling on Poshmark, you will be prompted to fill in the information. And that's why I do think Poshmark is quite easy to use. You just put in the title, the description, it will ask you about the size, the brand, things like that. Now, one thing that I remember I was kind of confused on when I first started selling on Poshmark was the fact that it asks you for the original price. And most of the time you're not gonna know the original price. So what some people will do is they will guesstimate the price, or you can just put a 0 because you do have to put something in that original price or you won't be able to upload the listing. But I pretty much always just put 0 and then I do put the price that I want to list it for. And when you're trying to figure out what the price of the item should be that you're trying to sell, Poshmark does actually kind of give you a window on what they think you could potentially get for that item based on what similar items have sold for in the past. So a lot of times I will kind of go off of that, but you definitely do not have to list an item for whatever they tell you to. You can list an item for whatever you want. But I have found that really helpful, especially if I am selling a new brand or just selling a different kind of item and I'm really not sure how much I can get for it. So once you put all that information that is prompted, you just press submit, done, whatever, and then you have your listing. And when you do create the listing, you want to make sure you're using as many keywords as possible. And the way that I think of it is, if I was looking for this item myself and I was searching for it on Poshmark, what would I type into the search bar in order to find that item? So for example, I recently created a listing that is a cute little summer dress, and it is from the brand Band of Gypsies. So I titled it Band of Gypsies Ditzy Floral Button Front Dress Size Medium. You just want to use as many keywords in that title as possible. And then in the description, I pretty much just say the same thing, but you can add in whatever you want. Some people put the materials. I did not put the materials for this particular item because they're not particularly impressive. But if the item was made with really good materials, I would be sure to list that in there. And like I said, some people really go ham with the descriptions, and I probably could sell a little bit better if I had better descriptions myself, but you can really put whatever you want there. So really creating the listings, I don't think is too complicated at all. And then when somebody wants to buy something from you, they can either buy it outright, which I'll be honest, very rarely happens to me. And so with that in mind, I always price my items a little bit more than I would like to get for them. So with that Band of Gypsies dress, I priced it at $30 because I'd be very happy to get anywhere from $20 to $25 for that dress. Most of my sales come from either sending offers to people who have liked an item or from somebody sending me an offer on their own. And in order not to make this video like a million years long, and I did just want to kind of give a general overview of Poshmark, I'm not going to say too much more about the general setup, but I will direct you to a source where you can find a lot of information. And I think Poshmark is really good about just kind of presenting simple how-tos on how to do things. You want to click in the bottom right-hand corner of the app on the name of your little shop. So for me, it's clicking on Columbus Cozies. And you're gonna see a whole lot of things on this page. And like I said, I'm not gonna go too much into all these different things right now, but basically they just break everything down for you a little bit more. But I will kind of direct your eyes to the thing on top that says Your Guide to Poshmark, and it tells you all kinds of different things. And the first article is Get Started on Poshmark Today. So if you are brand new to Poshmark, I would definitely recommend reading that. That's what I did when I started Poshmark. I really didn't watch any videos or anything on how to get started. I kind of just messed around on the app until I figured things out. And then of course, as I've gone along, I do follow a lot of other resellers here on YouTube and Instagram. But I'd recommend checking out that Get Started on Poshmark Today. There's another one, Tips for How to Make Your First Sale, and many, many more articles. So I would recommend just kind of looking around on that guide to Poshmark if you are brand new to the app and really have no idea what the heck is going on. So yeah, I won't say too much about all these other things right now because I do think a lot of those articles will cover it. But something that has been really helpful for my business that Poshmark recently came out with is clicking on this My Seller Tools and then going to My Closet Insights. And you can get a full breakdown of what is going on with your closet. And that can be really helpful when you're trying to figure out what is selling for you, what is sitting for you. And it will just help you keep track of all the numbers that are involved with doing this as either a part-time or full-time hustle. But yeah, this has just been a really helpful tool for me over the last few months. Okay, so that's just a general overview of how to get started on Poshmark. I think that everybody will be fine. I know it can be overwhelming, but if you just kind of mess around a little bit, read those articles, I think you'll find that it really is not too complicated at all. So let's answer some more questions. How do you determine what to purchase to sell? So it really is a full-on trial and error learning process, I think, for most of us. And I really do hope that you give yourself some grace as you are just getting started out reselling, because when I started picking things up to resell seriously just about a year ago, a little over a year ago, I picked up many things that I would never pick up now. So a lot of it is just kind of figuring out what sells well. And honestly, I can't even tell you why. Some brands, some items sell well for one person and not as well for another, even though you're on the same app. So just keep that in mind as you watch people like me and other resellers on the YouTube platform or on Instagram. Just because somebody says something sells for them does not necessarily guarantee it is going to sell for you. Trends change all the time. What people are searching for change all the time. And there are certain months where your sales are going to be a lot better than others, either because, it's tax season. Maybe a lot of people are saving money, or it's Christmas time. A lot of people are saving money, or people are about to go on vacation. So they really are looking for a lot of spring items. So there are a lot of highs and lows in this business. And I really think that you have to be mentally prepared for that, for things not to be super consistent all the time. And with that note, I will definitely say I would recommend checking out some other videos I've made in this fireside chat category, because I do talk a lot about the kind of the mental health surrounding reselling in those videos. But there are many, many ways to learn about the best kinds of things to pick up. And I do think one of the best ways to learn is by watching resellers on YouTube. Two of my favorite people that I like to watch are McThriftsy. Mackenzie is her name, but McThriftsy is her YouTube channel. I will go ahead and link her information down below. I think she does a fantastic job of just explaining why she picks up certain items. She has been very successful selling on Poshmark. I do believe she sells exclusively on Poshmark full time. So she's kind of got it down, and I believe she's done it for about 5 years. So she does have quite a bit of experience, and I have learned a ton about her, not just about brands, but about what I believe she calls sellability points, or at least I kind of think of them as sellability points. And that's the idea that when you are, say, going out to Goodwill or any thrift store or whatever, looking for different items, a good item to source, to pick up, would be an item that has several sellability points. So for example, if I'm going out to a thrift store and I see a piece that is a good brand, like Soft Surroundings, let's say, that's one sellability point, that it is a good brand. If I see that it is a good size, like extra large, which does happen to be my best-selling size, that's another sellability point. If that particular item is also made of good materials, like let's say it is 100% cotton, I would say that's a good material, another sellability point. And it so happens to be new with tags, amazing, sellability point, or just very, very good condition. And for me, I really focus on keeping my cost of goods as low as possible. So I would say if an item is $5 or under, that's another sellability point. Ding, 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 ding. We got 5 sellability points. I would definitely pick up that item. And so for me, when I go out sourcing, I like to hit at least 3 sellability points. So I might pick up an item that is a good brand, a good price, and a good size, and that is worth it for me to pick up. So I would say, just kind of taking on that idea of the sellability points, does this item have enough reasons to pick up? That really changed the game for me, because when I first started out, a lot of times I would pick up something maybe that I just thought was cute, and there really wasn't much else going for it besides the fact that I thought it was cute. Or maybe it was a good brand, but that was it. There really was nothing else going for it. So kind of think about that when you go out sourcing. Does an item have multiple reasons to pick it up? Does it have multiple reasons why it would sell? And as far as learning about brands, I am very basic when it comes to brand knowledge, or at least I was when I started out selling. I went to private school, K-12, so I didn't even really wear normal clothes for the majority of growing up, and I wore a lot of American Eagle and things like that even throughout my 20s. And I am just not someone that really cares too much about brands myself. I will just wear something if it's comfortable and I think it's cute. So I had a lot of learning to do about all the different brands that are out there, and McThriftsy Mackenzie was a wonderful, wonderful resource to watch. I'm super grateful for her and her channel because I learned many, many, many brands from her. And I just kind of have my note section up in my phone when I watch her, and I just jot down any brand that she says that I was not familiar with, and I just have that there so then when I go out sourcing, I can kind of take a peek at that list and see if I can find anything on it. And I will give you one other YouTube channel to watch, although there are many, many, many wonderful resellers out there, but Mackenzie from McThriftsy and also Jack and Ryan, I think, are invaluable resources as far as just learning a lot about brands and what sells well. So I will have their two channels linked down below. And like I said, there's so many other resellers here on YouTube that I think are wonderful. So no shade to any of them. Those two are just my personal favorites. And you'll just kind of learn to look for quality, I think, as you get more and more into reselling. Now I am pretty good about just kind of touching an item, I would say, and kind of realizing if it is or is not made of good materials. And you kind of start to look for signs with the tags as well. And you can just kind of tell, I feel like, as you go on, if a brand is higher quality. And if you've never heard of something that looks high quality in the store, just take a minute to look it up online, and even if it is nothing good or doesn't resell well, at least you have gained that knowledge. But like I said at the beginning, definitely give yourself grace. It really is just a learning experience and getting in the groove of what sells well for you and what you just like to sell. One more note on this, I feel like this video is gonna be so long, I'm so sorry. You have to realize too, especially if you are watching a lot of different YouTubers who resell or looking at Instagram at different people who resell and have Instagram accounts about that, there are kind of two different ways that you can source and resell. So the way that I like to do it is kind of the quantity method, which is get a pretty good amount of items. I do like to list between 5 and 10 items a day. Do I always do that? Absolutely not, but that is what I aim to do. And I like to keep my cost of goods as low as possible. So for me, I love to keep the cost of goods definitely $5 and below, but really I love to keep it between even $2 to $3 for cost of goods. And if you want to learn more about what I spend on items, definitely check out my weekly hauls, which I post every Wednesday. And two, if you want to learn more about brands, hopefully you will learn something from those videos as well. But because I have that quantity method, I am a lot more likely to pick up good mall brand items like American Eagle. But again, going back to the sellability points, if I were to pick up something like American Eagle, the brand is not really going for that because that's just a very okay brand. But if it's a good size, if it's a good style, if it's a good price, those are all reasons why I would go ahead and pick up that kind of item to resell. However, you might come across other resellers who only pick up maybe new with tag items, or they might only pick up items that are very high quality and they won't sell anything for under $50. And that's totally fine. That's kind of the wonderful thing about reselling, is the fact that you can do it in so many different ways and you just kind of figure out what works best for you. All right, so for Poshmark, sharing, listing, just opening the app every day, how important is it? Well, I would say pretty important, and I know that is a big con for using Poshmark compared to other platforms, and I really couldn't tell you too much about that comparison because I do right now only sell on Poshmark, but I do think that Poshmark does require a bit more daily effort than other platforms. Other platforms, you might be able to list your item and then just kind of walk away, not think about it too much, and it will still sell pretty well. For Poshmark, it is quite important that you go on there every day and you do share your items and you do list quite consistently. I've heard many, many people say that if you have 50 items to list in a week, it is much, much better to spread those 50 items out over a 7-day week rather than list 50 in one day. It just kind of helps the Poshmark algorithm, whatever. I don't really understand it, but it does seem to be very important to go on to the Poshmark app pretty much every day, share your items, list your items, and just kind of be active on there. I can 100% assure you that I have had gaps where I didn't really go on the app for days or weeks at a time, and my business absolutely suffered because of that. I'm actually just coming out of a 2-week period where I wasn't very consistent with listing. I wasn't really sharing 2 to 3 times a day, and my business suffered in April because of that. And I was okay with that. I just had other priorities. But for me, it has absolutely been true that if I am really not on the app, then my business is not going to go super well. And as far as sharing goes, I think if you can share your items 3 times a day, that seems to be pretty good. I try to do 3 to 5, especially on the weekdays. And I will talk a little bit more about sharing in a few minutes because there was another question about that specifically. But it is quite easy to share on the app, and also on the desktop, you can share your items a little bit faster, I would say. Okay, so let's just go down to that sharing question since I was just talking about it. So Christina asked, do you use any bots like Poshmark VA, etc.? So I did resist the bots for a long time, and if what I'm saying is gobbledygook to you right now, basically there are several different external companies that are not connected to Poshmark, and you have to pay for these companies' services. I can't remember exactly how much I'm paying for Poshmark VA, which is what I use. It is not uber cheap, but it's also not that bad. I did buy for a full year up front, and so that did cut the cost a little bit. And because I am a super cheap person, that was why I did resist using any of these services for a while, because I just was like, I don't want to pay for something if I can do it myself. However, it is very time consuming to share your items if you have, I would say, even over 100 items. It just is annoying and it takes a while. And so it has definitely been worth it for me to use Poshmark VA because it just saves me so much time, because all I do is click a button and it shares my entire closet. Now it does only work on the desktop, so you do have to have like your laptop open in order for the items to share. But what I'll usually do is just share the items if I'm like watching YouTube or I'm writing or I'm just doing something else on my laptop. I just have it running in the background, and it's awesome because yeah, literally you just press a button and it does all the work for you. Poshmark VA is also great because you can do things like send offers to the people who have liked items in your closet. You can lower the price of different items to kind of have a sale. There's lots of different things to do, and if you want me to talk more about that, I am happy to. I am not sponsored by Poshmark VA. I just really do like the service, but that is kind of a whole other video. So again, if you want to kind of have a tutorial, I guess, on Poshmark VA, just go ahead and ask me down below for that, or I'm sure you can just search around on YouTube and find one. But I do think that having the Poshmark VA has kept me sane, I will say. Okay, Melinda asked, finding stock photos, I need help, LOL. Yeah, so finding stock photos can definitely be a pain, and you definitely don't need to have them. You can just use your own photos, but I do think it is very nice and helpful if you do have a stock photo as the first image, because it's modeled on a very attractive person and probably shows the item in better lighting than you can provide. So I do definitely try to find stock photos whenever possible. And there are kind of 3 main ways that I do try to find stock photos. So probably the easiest way is to have the Google Photo app, and you just kind of either take a picture of the item on there, or you upload a picture of the item that you took, and it will kind of show you any visual matches that the Google Photo app is able to identify on the web. However, if an item is kind of a very generic looking item, it's not going to be very easy to find it. Really, the only times that Google Lens works super well for me is if the item is really unique. But one of the things I will say about Google Lens is even if you can't find a stock photo for something, a lot of times I will find like keywords that maybe were used for a very similar item or something like that. So that can be very helpful in the end. Another way that I do find stock photos is just by going onto Google myself and typing in words that are related to the item. So going back to that Band of Gypsies floral dress, I would have typed in basically what my title ended up being: Band of Gypsies, ditzy floral dress, button front detail. I could put the colors in, and a lot of times I am able to find stock photos in that way easier than Google Lens. And then a third way that I do find stock photos photos is just going onto Poshmark and also kind of searching the same thing that I would use in the title. And sometimes I am able to find stock photos that way that I wasn't able to find online. Maybe if the item was older and the stock photo is just like no longer available or something. And so yeah, sometimes that will work out, but don't freak out if you can't find a stock photo. It's definitely not the end of the world, and there are definitely many, many items that I never find stock photos for. Just a couple more questions. So this one says, when do you decide to get rid of something from your inventory? I will be completely honest, I definitely do not have like a hard and fast system, and I think that's partly because I have only been doing this really for about a year, because I know some people that have been selling for longer, like maybe Mackenzie or Becky Park or Lori. These people have been selling for years and years, so they might decide to get rid of something after 2 years. And I'm not even at that point yet. But I am quite impatient and I do like to sell things pretty quickly. So if something has been sitting for 6, 8, 10 months, I definitely start to reevaluate. Do I want to take this item to Plato's? Do I want to give it away? Do I want to try to send it in to ThredUp to sell? I definitely do start thinking that way, or what I will often do is really just lower the price a lot, just trying to get it to move out of my inventory, because yeah, I just personally don't like things to sit for a long time. So that's kind of just personal preference on when you would want to get rid of an item. I don't have a ton of space in my house. I have like a kind of a smaller spare bedroom that I've converted into my reselling office and storage, and it holds, I'd say, about 900 items, and that's pretty much where I'm sitting right now. So I will definitely, over the next few weeks, be doing some spring cleaning and sending some items to Plato's and Clothes Mentor and ThredUp, and doing a garage sale and all of that, and I probably will be documenting that here on YouTube. So make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and I'll kind of keep you updated on that process. So if you do have a ton of space, you're probably going to be a lot more likely to keep items for a longer period of time, but I do think space really is the biggest issue in when you do want to get rid of items. Okay, last question. Shipping for a package over 5 pounds, do you have to request another shipping label? I'm not sure how that works. Thank you. Thank you, Melinda. So kind of going back to Poshmark and that area where you can find a lot more information, going back to your guide to Poshmark, I do believe there is a specific article. Yes, so there's an article called How Do I Upgrade My Shipping Label? So I would highly, highly, highly recommend checking that out, but it really is quite simple. I've only had to do it 2 times, I believe, and I've sold over 800 items. So for me, at least, it doesn't happen too often, but maybe if you sell more houseware items, I pretty much primarily sell clothes that are not too heavy, and I often don't sell huge bundles. So most of my items are not going to be over 5 pounds, but definitely check out that How Do I Upgrade My Shipping article, and that will break it down for you. But it really is quite simple, but it is important to know that you do have to pay that difference in shipping. So you just want to keep that in mind, that if you do sell something that weighs more than 5 pounds, you are the one that is responsible for paying the difference in price. And all right, guys, that is everything I am going to answer today. I hope it was helpful. I know it can seem really overwhelming to start selling, but definitely give yourself some grace and watch other resellers, watch those 2 that I did recommend, and I think you will quickly learn, quickly pick up what works for you and what doesn't. And yeah, it's just a learning experience, but it is a lot of fun. If you love thrifting, I think it is a wonderful, wonderful part-time gig. And again, check out the other videos in my Fireside Chat series, because I do talk a lot about kind of the pros and cons of reselling in many of those videos. But if you did like the video, I would very much appreciate if you would give me a big thumbs up and subscribe. It does help my channel out a lot, and at the time of this video coming out, I am super close to 1,500 subscribers, and I will be doing a $50 gift card giveaway when I get to that point. So make sure you are not only subscribed to my YouTube channel, but also following me on my Instagram account, which is just Allison Grosick and is linked down below. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.